solve polynomial equations, we're going to use that same zero product property that we did before with quadratic equations. We're going to factor completely as far as we can, and then we're going to solve from there. So the first thing we're going to try to do when we're factoring is see if there's anything in common. Since all three of these terms have an x, we're going to factor that x out. We're left with x squared plus 2x plus 8. What's in parentheses is now quadratic. We'll try to factor that using our normal method of adds, multiplies, and that's going to be, that's not actually going to factor. So therefore, that's as far as we can factor it. Once we have it completely factored, we then set each of these equal to 0. So either x equals 0, that's our first answer, or x squared plus 2x plus 8 is equal to 0. Since that wouldn't factor, we know we can't solve it by factoring, so we're going to use my method. So therefore, our three numbers are 1, 2, and 8. Left leg, right leg are -1 and +1. Our head is 8. So therefore, our other two answers are -1, plus and minus. The square root, we're going to do the difference here. That's the square root of -7, which we can write as I root 7, all divided by 1. So there's your other two answers. The next one, we can use synthetic division to actually factor this. Or before I do that, I always like to see, can I factor by grouping? So my first group, I'm factoring an x squared out, and I'm left with x minus 3. My second group, I can factor a -25 out, and I'm left with x minus 3 again. Both groups have an x minus 3, so I factor it out, and I'm left with an x squared and a -25. Again, factoring by grouping. The next thing, since this is linear, once it comes down to x to the first power, you're finished with that. But my second factor here can actually factor with difference of squares. Difference of squares will always factor into conjugates. X and x, +5 and a -5. So therefore, now that I have it completely factored, my three answers are 3, -5, and +5. Next up, this is an obvious difference of squares. So therefore, we're going to factor into x squared minus 4 and x squared plus 4. This is difference of squares again. We're going to factor it into conjugates, x plus 2 and x minus 2. The x squared plus 4 will not factor. It's not difference of squares. So that's as far as we can get it to factor. So we have x equals -2 is my first answer. X equals +2 is my next answer. And then when I set x squared plus 4 equal to 0, I had to solve it. First step is move the 4 over. Next step, to give it a square, we do plus and minus the square root. The square root of a negative is an I. The square root of 4 is 2. So my next two answers would be positive and negative 2i. Okay, if none of those different factoring methods work, then we always go to what we refer to as synthetic division. And we're going to test things to see what we can find that works. So 1, 1, -16, -4, and 48. And again, we're trying to find factors of 48 that might work. So I'm going to take a second and try a couple of these. So 1, -2, -1, +2, -14, +28, a 24, and -48, and we find one right off the bat that works. So therefore, what I just did, I divided by x plus 2, and I got this, which is x to the third minus x to the second minus 14x plus 24. And then we keep working until we try to find something else. So now we're trying to break this down with synthetic division. So we're trying to find factors of 24. And instead of rewriting all this, I'm just going to come right here and use those four numbers. So again, now I'm trying to break this down. I'm going to try a +2, 1, 2, 1, 2, -12, and -24. And I found another one right off the bat. So I broke this into... just bring your x plus 2 down. I broke it into x minus 2, which is what I divided by, and x squared plus x minus 12. And now I can just factor this using old methods. So x plus 2, x minus 2, what adds to give you 1, multiplies to give you -12 would be an x plus 4 and an x minus 3. So therefore we have four answers. Our first one, when you set that equal to 0, you get -2, +2, -4, and +3, and there's your four answers.